Today we're looking at how to make amazing thumbnails that will not only look great, but really add a beautiful touch to your channel and your videos. And we're going to look at how to make it really pop. So sit back because we're starting right now. Hey everyone, what is up? This is Tim of the People's Bookkeeper, where we always hit the mark. Make your mark in business too, and share it on YouTube. Do that by subscribing now and turning on the bell notification. So there are a lot of YouTubers who do not take thumbnails very seriously. They think that it really doesn't matter or make that much of a difference to their channel and their growth. This couldn't be a more wrong approach to being successful and helping your channel grow. There are two guaranteed things that people see before they watch your video. Number one is your title, and number two is your thumbnail. And both are extremely important to give your viewer and your audience something to be excited about when they click and watch your video. Thumbnails give a snapshot of what your video is about, and they help to really build the story that you're trying to tell. Let's say, for example, I use this current picture of me in this pose as my thumbnail picture on every video. Let's say I put no words, no colors, no nice background, just a simple picture of me in a particular pose. Or worse yet, just my face. Now people would see me, but they would have absolutely no idea what my video was about. Now let's imagine I also took no time to come up with something creative for a title, and I simply called it My Vlog Number 142. The title is also terrible because it doesn't show people what the video is about or help build a story that they might be interested in seeing. So some ways you can really make your video stand out in a lot better way would be to create a beautiful thumbnail that really gives a story that people can be interested in. You can do this by creating a great title and using your face or your body in some way that kind of gives someone an intrigue or piques their curiosity into what your video might actually be about. There are all kinds of facial expressions you can use to convey a particular emotion or feeling that you want your audience to see when they watch your video. And there are a number of ways that you can convey these messages in your thumbnails. You can either take a photograph of yourself as a separate shot, or you can even pull the expression straight out of your video. Now I want to let you know, if you're a new YouTuber and you're not making very good thumbnails right now, that's okay. We all start somewhere. My early thumbnails were awful. Even my wife told me how bad they were. And when I took time to really take a look at it, and I checked my analytics and looked at my click-through rates, I realized she was right. So I took that criticism and I went back and I reworked all my early thumbnails to at least something that looked a lot better than what they were. It really made a big improvement. I noticed a climb of 0.3 to 0.5% on every single video that I reworked the thumbnail on. Now with a small audience, this might not equate to tons and tons of views, but once you grow a large audience and you start getting higher click-throughs on those videos, this can add up to many thousands more views, which means a lot more views and watch time for you and a bigger boost and push out by the algorithm. One of my biggest improvements I noted was a video that went from a 1.8% click-through rate and is now currently at about 2.5%. So again, don't be discouraged if your click-through rate really stinks. Just go back and rework those thumbnails until you find something that works better. And keep in mind, you will get a lot better at your thumbnails as time goes on. I now regularly get a lot of compliments on my thumbnails, but I had to work really hard on figuring out what worked well for my brand, my style, and my channel. So let's take a jump into the software right now, and I'm going to show you exactly how I make my thumbnails, the methods that I use. And keep in mind that there are a lot of different ways that you can make thumbnails. There's all kinds of different software, there's all kinds of different methods to do this. I'm just showing you what I do because I find for me it works the absolute best. Okay, so the first thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to jump into your software. Now I use Filmora 9, but this can apply to any software that you use, whether it's Adobe or Final Cut, whatever it happens to be. This is just my method of choice. And keep in mind that you can create a specific photo with a particular pose if you want to, or you can pull an image right out of your video. So as you can see on the screen here, this is a video that I have loaded as an example to show you how I do it. And I've chosen just a particular video clip, nothing special about it, just a pose that I found that I kind of liked. And I've also imported a background image that I like as well. And what you can do is you can go through your image stills and drag through until you find an image that you really like, a pose that you like. Then you freeze on that part of the frame. The next step is you take your image and you would drop it onto the video frame timeline in your software to place it exactly where you want it to be for the image that you have selected. Okay, now I want you to keep in mind that I use a green screen for a lot of my filming, so for me, I drop in a background image. If you're not using a green screen and you have a natural background, your best option is going to be to take a specific photo with a particular pose for that video that you're making. So I'm going to take the image that I really like and drop it into the video background slot where I want it to go. I've dropped it in, and now what I'm going to do is right-click on my frame and click green screen. What that does is now automatically drop my background into the background for me. You click on OK, and then what you do is you want to select the actual background and you want to just simply resize it so that it covers your whole image. Otherwise you end up with these gray spaces behind that you don't want people to see. Now that I've filled my background in, simply click off and you have a really neat looking background for your photo. Now if you have PC like me, then what I do is I use the snipping tool. Mac would have an equivalent tool that you can use to take an image, cut out an image, and save it as a file. So next thing we do is come down to our start and we grab our snipping tool. We then click on New, and you want to drag and select around the image so that you encompass the entire photo. You then click on File and Save As, and simply save it as any file name you want to. I simply keep mine going in a numerical sequence so that I always know which one fits for which video. Click on Save, and you've now saved your photo. Now that you're done with this part, you can simply close your software if you no longer need it. I'm not going to save the changes because I don't need to save this particular thing for a later time. And now we head into Canva.com. Now I've been using Canva for a lot of my different projects for probably the last 3 or so years. It is an incredible website. It's free. You can do amazing stuff with it. Because I do a lot of YouTube thumbnails, right at the top of my screen I have YouTube thumbnail there. If you don't see it on yours, it's really easy to scroll through until you find YouTube thumbnails listed as one of the main things. But for now, let's click on YouTube thumbnail. That now opens up our editing screen. The next thing we want to do is click on our Uploads button here on the left side of the screen. Now what we want to do is click on Upload Image at the top. We're going to go down and select the photo that we just saved. Click Open. Now it's going to take a few seconds for your image to upload, so just wait patiently while that's happening. As soon as it's done, you can take it and drag it right into the frame and drop it in. Now you have your image, and don't worry if it looks a little rough around the edges because we're going to do quite a few things to spice this up and make it really pop out and look great. You can see there's a slight border from the snipping tool. That doesn't matter, we're going to fix that. So the first thing we're going to do is select the image, and you're going to notice that at the top you have a bar that comes up with some different things you can do. There's filters where you can add all kinds of different colors and shades if you want to. And if you're not happy with the selection you made, you can simply click on the Undo button. Now your image is back to the way it was. Crop will allow us to now simply drag the image out slightly so that we get rid of those unsightly borders that we didn't want. And we can also slide the picture around and adjust it a little if we need to. Once you're done, just click off the image and you'll now see that it's made a beautiful, crisp, clean edge for you all the way around. Now the next step is going to be getting in our title, our words, or whatever we want our image to convey. So let's say I want to have a title that says, "Please help me." The next thing I would do is click on Elements, and When you use a lot of images frequently, it will keep it near the top of the bar for you or near the top of the search for you. So let's drag over a shape here and resize it to a point where we're happy. I usually keep these boxes around 120 or so in height, and you can adjust height or width as you need to depending on what words and what font you're using. It really just depends on you and the style of your thumbnails. So now we have a box here that's great, but one thing we want to really make sure we do is that we find complementary colors that work really well together. So if you have a bit of a grayish white background, you know, colors that might pop out well would be like maybe a white, a black might show up well, and you can experiment with different things until you find something you're happy with. Another thing I like to do is I like to highlight key words for myself. I like to highlight important words in the thumbnail. So let's say I want my title to say, "Please help me." I want help to stand out because I really want to convey to people that I need help. So the next thing I would do is I would choose my text and add a heading, and you can type this in. And now that you've typed it in, highlight it and resize it to whatever size you want. Let's say you want it to be a really large title. So you choose font size 80. Click off, and now you can actually drag this around anywhere on the image that you want to. So let's say I want to put this right up near the top here. The next thing I want to do is I want the same font, the same size to appear down here, but I don't want to have to click on it and redo everything. So you're selected on your word already, just click copy, and it immediately copies the word for you, the same font, the same size, and all you have to do is simply change your typing. Now I want to copy this one more time and type in my third word. Okay, so that's looking okay, but it's not really popping out the nicest. It's kind of a bit of a dark word, dark background. It doesn't stand out the greatest on your image. So the next thing we can do is resize the lettering box so that it lets us select our background easily without having to constantly move things back and forth and around just to get to the images behind. We're going to select the box, and we're going to click on the little color box at the top. That's going to let us change the background color of our box. So I'm going to choose white because I want this to really pop out on my image nicely. And the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to actually change the size of the box so that it's sized to be more appropriate with the word. So you don't have all this giant white space on each side. It doesn't look as good. So we resize the box here. And the next thing I want to do is I want my word help to really pop out. So I'm selecting that, and I'm choosing on the color box again. And this time I want it to really be a nice color that stands out. So a color I like to use a lot is this nice bright red in my videos and my thumbnails. So I'm going to select that. And now you can see all of a sudden this actually starts to look a lot better. Now, if you want to add some neat little pictures and icons and things to your thumbnail that will really help it stand out as well, a great way to do that is to come to the Elements box and the little search at the top. You can type in tons of different things that you're interested in looking for. So if you're thinking you want an icon that has something to do with being help, just type in help. See what comes up. You'll oftentimes see many free icons you can use in your thumbnails. I like the way this one looks, so I'm going to select this and drop it into my image. Now right now it's gigantic and you need to resize it. So you can drag it down to a size that you feel happy with, and you can play around with moving these words around a little if you want to. If this is still too big, you can drop it down in size and you can adjust it again. Another thing to do is select that image if you don't like the color, and you can oftentimes change the colors around as well. So choose a color that you're happy with. Once you're finished, just simply click off the item and you're good to go. You're a lot happier than you were a few minutes ago, but you still don't really like your font. It's easy. Click on the font and choose a new font that you're happy with. Play around with different things until you find one that really works. Once you've found one that you're really happy with, it may be one that you want to constantly stick with for your brand and your videos. This is actually a cool font if you're a gaming channel because it looks kind of like a pixelated, almost Mario style font. It's really neat. So you've decided you're really happy with how that looks, and you want to do a little something extra to make the image just pop out and stand out even better. This is where we can add in some adjusting to the image itself to make it really pop and stand out. What we're going to do is select our image and click on Adjust. You now have some excellent options to select the brightness, the contrast, the saturation, and the blur of your image. I usually don't mess around with the brightness much, but your contrast, your saturation, and your blur are three things that are going to make your images super, super crisp. So the first thing I do is add a little bit more contrast, usually to around 15 or 20, somewhere in that range. And you'll notice that when you add a little more saturation, you'll see that it starts to really pop out and look much more crisp and clear. Now the final secret ingredient to making it even more crisp is to lower the blur down to around -10 to 20, somewhere in that range. And all of a sudden you now see this image has gone from kind of a generic blurry-ish looking background to a very crisp looking thumbnail with great lettering, great words, and when people see that, they're going to be very interested in clicking on your video to see what this is about. Now once you're done, simply click off the image and we're going to open up the snipping tool again. You're going to select New, and you're going to select your entire image again. And what I do is I now save this as the image that I had previously had saved. And that overwrites the thumbnail, and now when you go to upload it into YouTube, your image will appear exactly as this. Now keep in mind, you're going to get a lot more experience with your thumbnails as you keep making videos and building your brand and your channel. But do not skip this vital step to making your channel more successful. Thumbnails should also be unique to the particular video you're making, which means you should wear different clothes, you should do different facial expressions, different poses, change up sides in your thumbnails, and make sure you use the same font so that people get used to your branding. Make it bold, bright, crisp, and clean for your audience so that they'll click on your thumbnail. Don't choose something that's really small or hard for them to read. Ultimately, if you do it the right way, you're going to grow your audience, you're going to get those clicks, and you're going to get that watch time and grow your channel. Now keep in mind that the thumbnail that you saw was just a really quick and easy, kind of a crude looking thumbnail. You're going to obviously spend a lot more time working on your thumbnails to get the brand look and the feel that you want for your videos. And in the long term, you're going to end up with a branded thumbnail that you can reuse for many of your videos. This is going to help create consistency and that nice look for your channel. So my question of the day for you is, what steps are you going to take to improve your thumbnails, improve your branding, so that you can get those views that you're looking for? Answer and leave your comments and feedback below. Now if you want to make your mark in business, then check out these videos over here. They'll help you grow your business. And if you're new to the channel, then please consider subscribing. Click my face and you'll do just that. I'll see you in the next video.